Most people think they lack focus. The truth is, they have trained their brain for distraction. Focus can be switched on in seconds if you know how. Most people think focus is a personality trait you either have or you don't. The truth is simpler and harsher. Focus is a trained mental response. Your brain follows whatever you repeatedly condition it to do. If you spend hours jumping between notifications, short videos, and random thoughts, your mind learns distraction, not concentration. That is why many people feel mentally scattered the moment they try to work, but science shows that the brain can switch into a focused state extremely fast when you trigger the right physiological and psychological signals. The first method is controlled breathing. When you take slow, deep breaths through your nose and extend the exhale, your nervous system shifts away from stress and toward cognitive control. This reduces mental noise and allows the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision making and attention, to take control. The second method is visual narrowing. Your brain processes enormous amounts of visual information every second. When you deliberately limit your visual field by focusing your eyes on a single point or object, you reduce the sensory load entering your brain. Less incoming noise means more available attention. The third method is physical posture. Your body constantly sends signals to your brain. Slouched posture signals fatigue, and low energy upright posture with shoulders back signals readiness and control. Within seconds, this simple shift increases alertness and oxygen flow to the brain. The fourth method is immediate task clarity. The brain resists vague work. If you sit down thinking you need to work for an hour, motivation drops. But when you define one extremely small action, such as writing the first sentence or reading one page, the brain accepts the task instantly. Clarity removes friction. The fifth method is environmental interruption. Control focus dies when interruptions are allowed. The fastest way to create focus is to remove the most obvious distraction. Put the phone out of reach, close unnecessary tabs, and create 30 seconds of deliberate silence. These 5 methods work because they influence the brain through biology, not motivation. Motivation is unreliable, but physiology is immediate. When breathing slows, posture improves, visual input narrows, and the task becomes clear. The brain recognizes a work state within seconds. Neural resources begin shifting toward the problem in front of you. This is why high performers in demanding environments use short reset rituals before important tasks. They do not wait for focus, they trigger it deliberately. The more often you practice these rapid resets, the faster your brain learns to enter concentration on command. Over time, what once required effort begins to feel automatic. Focus is not magic, it is trained access to your mental energy. The person who controls their attention controls their productivity and ultimately their direction in life. Start practicing these methods today and prove to yourself that focus is a skill you can switch on whenever you decide to work with intent and discipline every single day, starting now, not tomorrow, but right now with one clear action. Most people try to force focus with willpower, but willpower fades quickly. The brain is designed to conserve energy and avoid effort. That is why many people open their laptop with the intention to work, but within minutes, they find themselves checking messages, scrolling social media, or staring at the screen without progress. The problem is not laziness. The problem is that the brain has not been given a clear signal that it is time to concentrate. High performers understand this, and they create deliberate mental triggers that shift the brain from passive mode into active engagement. The first trigger is the countdown method. When you feel resistance before starting a task, count down from 5 to 1 and move immediately. The countdown interrupts hesitation and pushes the brain into action before doubt can grow. This method works because the brain reacts strongly to time pressure. Even a small countdown creates a sense of urgency that helps break mental inertia. The second trigger is the 30-second rule. Tell yourself you only need to focus for 30 seconds. This removes the psychological weight of long work sessions. Your brain is far more willing to start a task when it believes the commitment is small. Once the task begins, momentum often carries you forward far longer than expected. Starting is the hardest part, and this rule removes the barrier. The third trigger is movement. Many people try to focus while sitting still for long periods, but the brain benefits from brief physical activation. Standing up, stretching your shoulders, or taking a short walk for 20 seconds increases blood flow and oxygen delivery to the brain. This simple reset can dramatically increase alertness and mental clarity. The fourth trigger is environmental cues. The brain associates certain places and objects with specific behaviors. If you always work in the same clean space, your mind begins to connect that environment with productivity over time. Simply sitting in that location signals your brain to enter focus mode. This is why successful professionals protect their work environments from unnecessary distractions. The fifth trigger is deliberate silence. Constant background noise trains the brain to divide attention. Turning off music notifications and unnecessary audio for a few moments allows the mind to stabilize. Silence creates a mental clearing where concentration can grow naturally. None of these techniques are complicated. They work because they respect how the brain actually operates. Instead of fighting your mind, you guide it into the state you need. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to suffer through work. Discipline is about building systems that make focus easier to access. The more consistently you use these triggers, the faster your brain adapts. After repeated practice, the moment you sit down, count down, remove distractions, and define a small task, your brain recognizes the pattern and prepares for deep concentration. This is the hidden advantage of disciplined people. Their minds respond quickly because they have trained those responses over time. Focus becomes less of a struggle and more of a habit built through simple daily actions repeated with intention and consistency. The final truth about focus is simple but uncomfortable. Focus is not something you wait for, it is something you build through repetition. Every time you sit down to work and choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen the neural pathways responsible for attention. The brain changes based on repeated behavior. This process is known as neuroplasticity, and it explains why some people appear naturally focused while others constantly struggle. In reality, the focused mind is usually the result of daily training, not talent. Most people sabotage their focus without realizing it. They constantly switch between tasks, open new tabs, check their phones, and interrupt their own concentration. Every interruption forces the brain to reset its attention system. When this happens repeatedly, the brain becomes conditioned for short bursts of attention rather than deep work. That is why long periods of concentration feel difficult for many people today. The solution is not complicated, but it requires consistency. You must begin protecting your attention like it is one of your most valuable resources, because it is one simple strategy used by high performers is the focus block. A focus block is a defined period of time where one task receives your full attention. No multitasking, no checking notifications, no switching activities. Even a short block of 15 minutes can dramatically improve productivity because the brain is allowed to stay on a single problem long enough to make real progress. Another powerful strategy is mental entry rituals. Before starting important work, many disciplined individuals perform the same small actions every time. This might include clearing the desk, adjusting posture, taking a deep breath, and writing the next task on paper. These actions may seem small, but they create a consistent signal that tells the brain it is time to concentrate. Over time, the brain learns this pattern and enters focus faster with less effort. The final strategy is deliberate recovery. Focus is powerful, but it cannot operate endlessly. The brain requires short breaks to maintain performance. Stepping away for a few minutes, walking, drinking water, or looking away from the screen helps reset cognitive energy. When you return to the task, your attention becomes sharper and more stable. This cycle of focused work and brief recovery allows the brain to maintain high performance for longer periods of time. People often search for complicated productivity systems, but the real answer is discipline applied to simple habits. Control your breathing, define one task, remove distractions, protect your work environment, practice short focus blocks, and allow brief recovery periods. When these behaviors become daily habits, the brain adapts, your attention becomes stronger, your work becomes deeper, your results become more meaningful. The difference between average and exceptional performance is often nothing more than the ability to control where your attention goes. If you train that ability every day, even for a few minutes, you begin shaping a mind that works with clarity, purpose, and direction. Focus is not a mystery, it is a skill built one deliberate action at a time.